It's Nicola here with an update on our emergency appeal for people fleeing Myanmar. And I'm delighted to announce that our new fundraising total has reached just over £9 million today. So as ever, the British government has been, the British public has been just so generous. I have a very special guest here today. I'm delighted to welcome the Secretary of State for International Development, Priti Patel. And the Secretary of State has been in the DEC offices this morning, meeting some of the aid workers from DEC member charities, some of the people who I've been chatting to the last few days on these Facebook live streams. Secretary of State, what struck you about what you heard from those aid workers just back from Cox's Bazar?
Well, of course, amazing work from all our aid workers who have been out in the field. And to be fair, what struck me is just the sheer harrowing circumstances, the difficult conditions, obviously, that people, we can't even say are living in, but the conditions that they are enduring. Water is an issue, sanitation is a really big issue, food. But the frightening thing, of course, are the protection issues, and that is something that all our amazing aid workers have touched upon. And I think that's why, you know, from the generosity of the British public and through the DFID funds that we're providing as well, you know, we have a confidence in the fact that we are making a difference to people. But, you know, it's relative in light of the scale of what has happened and the scale and the challenges locally within the camps that people are currently living in.
Yeah, we've certainly been hearing from aid workers about all the challenges, what with water, sanitation, shelter. The scale of the need is incredible. And you have a very special announcement today that you've come in to tell us about as well.
Absolutely. So, you know, on top of the fact that the appeal itself has reached £9 million, which is incredible, and that speaks volumes in terms of the generosity of the British public, and obviously DFID has been aid matching that. We are now effectively going to give the appeal more support with another £2 million of aid match as well, which will make an enormous difference. You know, when we see the screens on TV, the pictures, the images that we see here, when we see the news reports, these are desperate people, and this is money that is going to provide life-saving support, which is absolutely vital.
And the British public has been very generous, as we've said, but also the British government has donated a lot of money to this effort. So can you explain to the people watching how UK aid has been helping on the ground in Cox's Bazar?
Absolutely. I mean, we have an incredible DFID team in Dakar and obviously on the ground as well, working with our NGO partners, charities, you know, through the DEC appeal as well, many of whom I've met today. But that money, the UK aid money, the taxpayers' money that is, you know, going into the camps, it's providing water, it's providing medicine, it's providing food, it's providing shelter kit, the basics, the absolute basics, you know, the things that we all take for granted, you know, that is effectively where the support is going. It is emergency relief, it is humanitarian relief. The disaster and the catastrophe that we are seeing is a humanitarian crisis, and so the level of support that we are putting in, you know, has really shown and is illustrative of the type of crisis that we're responding to.
And with this extra announcement of another £2 million of aid match, why is it so important that the British public continue to support our appeal?
Well, this is unprecedented for a start, but we're seeing persecution. You know, for the first time in many years, we are seeing ethnic cleansing taking place. We are seeing people, Muslim population, that have been persecuted from their homes in Rakhine State for who they are. That is simply unacceptable. And of course, you know, we are working to put pressure on, obviously, the military and others, and working internationally through our diplomatic network. But that money is going to make an enormous difference for children, for women, but in terms of protection and to provide the life-saving support that is desperately needed. These are people that have nothing. You know, they have arrived into the camps with nothing but the clothes on their back. So we are absolutely showing the leadership that we are very proud to show as Britain, and, you know, it speaks to who we are and the values that we have, and, you know, humanity too. So that money will continue to help them at this really awful and terrible time.
Yes, I mean, that's one of the things we've discussed a lot over the last week, that while these people were very poor at home in Myanmar, they've been suddenly forced to flee. And as the Secretary of State was explaining, that is why this is a rapid onset catastrophe where we need to step up and help. They were poor, but they weren't in the situation of having to flee with the clothes on their back and suddenly have nothing. And that's why this money is so urgently needed. So as ever, the British public have been so generous, but do please continue to give. The British government is now matching your donations up to £5 million. So thank you so much, Secretary of State, for joining us today. And I'll see you again later this afternoon. Thank you.